A chilly April morning in Manhattan usually brings with it a stark beauty. But for Lily Hayes, it was just a steel curtain reflecting the growing anxiety in her young heart. On the cold granite sidewalk, the 7-year-old looked up at the Meridian Tower, a skyscraper of glass and steel soaring into the New York sky, devouring the morning sun. For Lily, the building wasn't just a physical structure. It was a fortress of distant dreams, of lavish wealth, and now her family's last fragile hope. Lily wasn't very tall, just barely touching 4 feet. But her neatly pressed dark blue dress and pristine white wool coat made her seem much more confident. This was the special outfit her mom Sarah had prepared last night, with the encouraging words, "You can do it." Lily's golden pigtails swayed gently whenever she nodded, self-encouraging, clutching her old, worn leather briefcase. The briefcase not only held her mom's documents, but also symbolized the heavy burden this little girl was carrying. Miles away, in a small apartment in Queens, the morning quiet only highlighted Sarah Hayes's dry cough. She lay in bed, her pale skin and dark circles under her eyes, betraying a sleepless night, battling a relentless fever. Sarah, 35, had been an excellent project manager at Westlake Solutions until the company closed last month. Now she was a desperate single mother searching for work both to sustain their lives and to ensure Lily had a stable future. The room was cluttered with stacks of books, an unfinished science project of Lily's on the dining table, and whimsical crayon drawings taped all over the walls. It was a life full of love, yet full of challenges, a life Sarah was trying to protect at all costs. Meanwhile, on the 50th floor of Meridian Tower, Alex Thorne, 45, was the embodiment of peak success. He was the CEO of Meridian Enterprises, a financial behemoth, and was dubbed the Iron Man by Wall Street for his decisiveness, ruthless efficiency, and ability to make tough decisions without hesitation. His neatly trimmed salt and pepper hair, perfectly tailored charcoal suit, and deep blue eyes exuded an unparalleled aura of power. But beneath that commanding exterior lay a profound loneliness, a wound that had hardened over the years. Alex had built an empire, but the price was an empty personal life haunted by a tragedy that had occurred nearly 2 decades ago. He moved through the gleaming marble hallways, his mind fully focused on the upcoming presentation for the board, completely unaware that today, a fateful encounter would change everything. Stepping into the grand lobby of Meridian Tower, Lily was overwhelmed by its sheer size and glamour. Executives in sharp suits moved swiftly across the polished marble floor, their faces filled with purpose. The atmosphere here was unlike anywhere Lily had ever been, as if time moved faster and every second was measured in dollars. Taking a deep breath, Lily approached the reception desk. She had to stand on her tiptoes just to see over the tall counter. "Excuse me." Lily's voice was small but clear. "I have an appointment at 9 o'clock with Mr. Alexander Thorne." The receptionist, Diane, looked up from her computer. Her name was neatly displayed on a small plaque on the desk. Diane looked at Lily with a mix of confusion and bewilderment. "Sweetie, are you lost? Where are your parents?" Lily squared her shoulders, trying to maintain the most serious demeanor possible. "My mom is Sarah Hayes. She has an interview for the project manager position. I'm here in her place." Lily placed the leather briefcase on the counter. The old leather creaked in the sudden silence of the reception area. Diane's confusion deepened. "That's not how interviews work, honey. Your mom has to come herself." "My mom can't," Lily's voice trembled slightly. "She's in the hospital. They took her last night because she couldn't breathe. But my mom really needs this job." Lily's big round eyes were filled with pleading and a hint of fear, but her resolute will remained unshaken. She didn't know that just a few steps away, a tall man in a perfect charcoal suit had paused. His attention was drawn to this unusual conversation. It was Alexander Thorne. He had heard Lily's small but clear voice, and a rare curiosity stirred within him. "Diane, what's going on?" His deep voice resonated through the lobby enough to attract the attention of a few hurried individuals. "Mr. Reynolds," Diane stammered. "This little girl says she's here to interview for the project manager position on behalf of her mother." Alex approached, his sharp blue eyes scrutinizing Lily. At 45, his salt and pepper hair and imposing demeanor often intimidated even seasoned executives. But not Lily. She held her head high, meeting his gaze without a hint of fear. "Hello, sir. I'm Lily Hayes," she replied, meeting his eyes directly. "My mom taught me it's important to look people in the eye when you talk." A rare flicker of amusement crossed Alex's face. "And where exactly is your mother?" "Northwestern Memorial Hospital." "She has pneumonia, but the doctors say she'll be fine in a few days," Lily said. Her tiny fingers unzipped the briefcase, pulling out Sarah's resume and certifications. "My mom stayed up all night preparing her presentation before she got sick." Alex glanced at his watch, then back at the determined child in front of him. Against all logic and company policy, he found himself intrigued. "Lily Hayes," he said, "I've conducted over 5,000 interviews in my career, but this is certainly a first." He extended his hand. "Come up to my office. Let's hear what your mother prepared." Diane's mouth dropped open as Alex led Lily towards the private executive elevator. As the steel and glass elevator doors closed, Lily looked up at Alex innocently. "Mr. Thorne," she said, My mom says I'm too young for coffee, but I know how to make it if you'd like some." For the first time in years, Alexander Thorne let out a hearty, genuine laugh. He had no idea that this unexpected encounter would change everything. As the private elevator doors quietly closed, Alex Thorne felt a rare sense of curiosity rise within him. He rarely allowed anything to derail his strict schedule. But this little girl, Lily, was an astonishing exception. Alex's office, vast and decorated in dark hues, perfectly mirrored the man himself. Powerful, uncompromising, and solitary. Morning light streamed in from the floor-to-ceiling windows, illuminating a wall filled with awards and business magazine covers, all featuring his stern face. "So, Lily," Alex said, watching her carefully place her mom's briefcase on her lap. "Tell me about your mom's qualifications." Lily opened the leather briefcase with practiced ease, as confident as a seasoned executive. "My mom's been a project manager for 8 years. She began her tiny finger tracing the resume. She worked at Westlake Solutions until the company closed last month. She has her PMP certification and an MBA from Northwestern." Alex raised an eyebrow, impressed by her vocabulary and fluency. "And why does your mother want to work at Meridian?" "Because we need health insurance," Lily answered frankly without a hint of hesitation. "And because my mom says your company does important stuff that helps people." The directness of her reply caught Alex off guard. Most candidates skirted around salary discussions, instead delivering well-rehearsed speeches about company culture and growth opportunities. Lily didn't stop there. She pulled out a small worn leather notebook filled with Sarah's meticulous notes. "My mom's really good at her job," Lily continued, pointing to a page. "This is how she explains her work to me. She says when she talks it out loud, she thinks better." Alex noted the professional terminology Lily used naturally, as if it were part of her everyday vocabulary. He realized this wasn't just rote memorization, but an astonishing understanding. "These project completion reports are my mom's success stories," Lily said, flipping through another stack of documents. She stayed up late making this presentation, even though she was starting to get sick. Alex scanned the meticulously prepared materials, noting the impressive track record of Rebecca Harrison, now Sarah Hayes in this story. Who's taking care of you while your mom's in the hospital? Alex asked, his voice softer. Lily's expression faltered slightly. Mrs. Winters next door checked on me this morning, but she's really old. I can take care of myself. I make my own lunch for school. An invisible weight pressed down on Alex's heart. Where's your dad? My dad left when I was little. My mom says he wasn't ready to be a dad. Lily shrugged, as if talking about the weather. It's just the two of us, but we're a good team. Alex looked at the child before him, composed, articulate, and shouldering responsibilities far beyond her years. Something about her determination stirred long-dormant memories within him. Hold on, he said, pressing his intercom. Janet, cancel all my morning meetings. Janet's voice, his assistant of 15 years, came through the speaker with utter surprise. Sir, you have your board presentation at 11. Reschedule everything and find out which doctor is treating Sarah Hayes at Northwestern Memorial Hospital. Lily's eyes widened. You're going to visit my mom? We are, Alex replied, standing up. I need to meet the woman who raised such an extraordinary representative. As they rode the elevator down together, Lily looked at him curiously. Mr. Thorne, why are you helping us? My mom says busy, important people usually don't have time. Her question hit Alex with unexpected force. Why Alex had built his reputation on efficiency and results, not compassion. Let's just say you managed to do what most of my executives can't, he responded. Capture my full attention. Lily smiled, revealing a missing front tooth, then gently slipped her small hand into Alex's. The simple gesture of trust stunned him. Neither of them realized it, but this moment would be the first step in healing wounds they didn't know they shared. Northwestern Memorial Hospital was bustling as Alexander Thorne and Lily walked through the main entrance. The CEO looked completely out of place in his high-end tailored suit amidst medical staff in scrubs. But he moved with the same authoritative presence he commanded in a boardroom. Room 317. The nurse at the reception desk directed after checking her computer. But sir, visiting hours haven't started yet. Alex slid his business card across the counter. I need to speak with Ms. Hayes about an urgent business matter. Lily led the way, navigating the hospital corridors with alarming ease, as if she were familiar with the place. Alex wondered how many times had this child been alone in hospital hallways. They found Sarah Hayes propped up against pillows in her bed, her chestnut hair in a makeshift bun, an IV drip in her arm. Though clearly ill, her face pale with dark circles under her eyes, the resemblance between her and Lily was striking. Lily? Sarah's voice was hoarse. What are you doing here? You're supposed to be with Mrs. Winters, right? Her eyes widened as she recognized Alex. Oh my goodness. Mom, this is Mr. Thorne, Lily said excitedly. I went for your interview and he brought me to visit you. Sarah's face lost its last bit of color. You did what? She tried to sit up straighter, her face flushed with embarrassment. Lily, I told you were supposed to call the office to reschedule, not go there yourself. But you worked so hard on the presentation, Lily countered, and we need the job. Her raw honesty silenced the room. Alex pulled a chair up next to the hospital bed. Ms. Hayes, your daughter made quite an impression. She presented your qualifications with remarkable composure. I am so sorry, Sarah said. Lily, we talked about you not going off on your own like that. But you stayed up late doing the presentation, Lily said again, and we need the job. That simple statement again brought silence. Alex pulled up a chair next to the bed. Ms. Hayes, your daughter says you worked at Westlake until recently. Sarah nodded, still bewildered by the situation. Yes, I was there for 5 years before they were acquired and downsized. Your resume is impressive. Why haven't you found another position with your qualifications? Sarah glanced at Lily, hesitating. It's complicated. Being a single mom with no family support, most recruiters see it as a burden. They ask if I'll miss work when Lily's sick. She continued, her voice growing stronger with frustration. They don't say it directly, but their concerns become clear. 8 interviews, 8 rejections in 2 months. Alex watched Lily climb onto the bed, instinctively checking her mom's IV drip with familiarity, like someone who had done it many times before. The medical bills aren't helping either, Sarah admitted quietly. Pneumonia couldn't have come at a worse time. A memory flashed in Alex's mind, one he had buried long ago. The image of a woman just like Sarah, struggling alone, determined to provide despite overwhelming odds. Ms. Hayes, Alex said, a decision forming in his mind. What's the earliest you can recover? The doctor says I can be discharged tomorrow if my oxygen levels improve, but I won't be strong enough for a week. Then we'll conduct your formal interview next Monday. Alex reached into his jacket, pulling out a business card. In the meantime, have the billing department contact this number. Sarah stared at the card. Mr. Thorne, I can't accept. Consider it in advance, Alex interrupted. Meridian always takes care of its people. As they left, Lily whispered, "Thank you for helping my mom." Alex wondered why her gratitude felt more valuable than his last $1 million deal. Over the next 5 days, while Sarah Hayes slowly recovered at home, under the care of a nurse Alex arranged, Lily Hayes became an intriguing anomaly at Meridian Enterprises. With Sarah's reluctant permission and under the strict supervision Alex had arranged, including a private car service and a designated workspace, Lily spent her afternoons in an empty office cubicle near Alex's suite. There she did her homework and occasionally shadowed different departments, observing everything with curious eyes and a constantly whirring brain. Your profit margins could improve by reorganizing the supply chain, Mr. Thorne, Lily declared on Wednesday afternoon, looking up from her math textbook as Alex checked in on her. An involuntary smile touched Alex's lips. Is that so? And where did you learn that? My mom explains her work to me, Lily replied, tapping her pencil on the notebook. She says she thinks better when she talks it out. Plus Diane, the receptionist, gives me business magazines when I get bored. Alex leaned against the doorframe. Most 7-year-olds read comic books. I read those too, Lily grinned. Batman's my favorite because he helps people without superpowers. An unexpected laugh escaped Alex. A pragmatist in the making. By Thursday, Alex's executive team had started noticing their CEO's unusual behavior. Janet, his assistant of 15 years, observed his frequent clock watching before Lily's daily arrival. Does she remind you of someone? Janet remarked, placing budget reports on Alex's desk. Alex stiffened. She's a child with extraordinary potential, that's all. If you say so. Janet had worked with him long enough to recognize the shadows that occasionally crossed his eyes. The board is asking questions about your canceled meetings. The board can ask me questions, Alex clipped. That afternoon, Alex found Lily in the break room, charming the marketing team with her insights on their latest campaign. The kids at my school would like the bright colors better if they were more vibrant, she was saying, while the marketing director took notes intently. Miss Hayes, Alex interrupted. I believe it's time for your appointment. It had become their ritual, a daily review of her mom's recovery and a discussion of what Lily had learned at Meridian that day. In his office, Lily settled into what had become her chair. Mom's coming home tomorrow? Lily announced, her face beaming. The nurse says her lungs are much better. That's wonderful news, Alex replied, sliding a chocolate milk carton across the desk, another part of their routine. Are you still going to want to see me after my mom starts working here? Lily asked abruptly, her serious eyes peeking over the rim of the milk carton. The question caught Alex off guard. What makes you think I wouldn't? Lily shrugged, looking down. My dad stopped wanting to see me. Sometimes people just don't want kids around anymore. That simple statement hit Alex like a physical blow. In his 45 years, he'd faced hostile takeovers, market crashes, and betrayals from trusted colleagues. Yet nothing had prepared him for the startling honesty of a 7-year-old. Lily, he said carefully, some people leave because of their own failures, not because of anything you did. He had no intention of sharing that picture today. It had been locked in his desk drawer for nearly 2 decades. Yet something compelled him to open the drawer and take out the silver photo frame. This is my daughter, he said, turning the frame towards Lily. Her name was Lily. Lily looked at the picture of a laughing child with Alex's blue eyes. Where is she? Alex's voice grew distant. She and her mom passed away in an accident a long time ago. Is that why you look sad sometimes, when you look at me? The question hung in the air like crystal, fragile and perfectly transparent. Not at all. On Friday morning, Victoria Sloan Meridian's head of HR stood with her arms crossed in Alex's office, her face a perfect blend of professionalism and veiled disdain. Alex, she began, her voice cool. I've reviewed Sarah Hayes' application. While her qualifications are sufficient, her situation presents significant liability concerns. Alex continued reviewing documents, his expression unreadable. Please elaborate. Single mother, no family support system, recent medical issues. Victoria listed on manicured fingers. She has a history of missed work in previous positions due to childcare emergencies. The statistical probability of absenteeism is high. Victoria presented a complex chart, its lines and figures designed to prove that Sarah Hayes was an unacceptable risk. We have other qualified candidates without these complications. Alex put down his pen. His voice dropped a few degrees. Complications? An intelligent, dedicated professional who successfully juggles both a career and raising a remarkable child is what you consider complicated. Victoria shifted uncomfortably. Alexander, this isn't like you. The board is questioning your judgment regarding this unusual interest. There are rumors. Rumors don't concern me. Results do. He cut her off. Alex handed her Sarah's file. Her project management methodology saved Westlake $3 million last year. That's the only relevant factor. Later that afternoon, James Whitfield, Alex's oldest friend and Meridian's CFO, closed the office door behind him. Alex, we need to talk. Alex looked up from his computer. If this is about Sarah Hayes, it is, James confirmed, taking a seat. But not for the reasons you think. He studied his friend's face. This isn't just about finding a competent project manager, is it? Alex's jaw tightened. Her qualifications speak for themselves. I've known you for 30 years, James said softly. Since Caroline and Lily, I haven't seen you like this. Don't, Alex warned. James continued gently. You've built walls so high, the board calls you the machine behind your back. Then this kid walks in, and suddenly you're canceling meetings, arranging hospital bill payments. What do you mean, James? I mean you need to be careful. James leaned forward. Not just professionally, but personally. If you're seeing ghosts of what could have been, that's a weakness to operate on. Alex turned to the window, looking out at the Chicago skyline. Do you know Lily has been making her own lunches since she was 5? She checks her mom's medication schedule and knows how to navigate hospital billing departments. He shook his head. She's 7 years old, James. And my Lily, she would have been 19 this year. James spoke softly. The silence that followed was a clear enough answer. After James left, Alex opened his desk drawer and took out the silver photo frame again. Caroline's smiling face looked back at him as she held a 2-year-old Lily in her lap. "What would you think if I got involved in this situation?" he asked the picture. "Am I seeing ghosts or an opportunity to finally do something right?" As always, the picture offered no answers, only memories of what he'd lost and the crushing weight of how he had failed them. His intercom buzzed, cutting off his thoughts. "Sir Sarah Hayes is here. She was discharged this morning and wants to see you." Alex carefully placed the picture back in the drawer. "Send her in." What happened next would determine whether his executive team's concerns were justified or whether something extraordinary was beginning. Sarah Hayes stood in Alex's office, her health significantly improved from the hospital, but still bearing the pallor of recent illness. She wore a simple navy blue suit, clearly her best, though a few years out of date. "Mr. Thorne," she began, her voice steady despite clear apprehension. "I came to thank you in person for your kindness to Lily and for handling the hospital bills. I'll arrange a repayment plan. Please have a seat." Alex gestured to the chair opposite him. "No repayment necessary. Consider it an investment." Sarah sat down, her posture perfect, despite a hint of discomfort. "An investment requires a return, Mr. Thorne. I haven't proven my worth yet." "Your daughter has been quite the impressive ambassador," he replied with surprising warmth. "The marketing team is implementing her color suggestions, and the break room staff added chocolate milk to their regular order." A faint smile touched Sarah's tired face. "Lily does have that effect. She's always been able to talk to anyone." Her expression grew serious again. "But I need to apologize for putting you in this situation. She was supposed to call to reschedule the interview, not come in person." "Yet, here we are," Alex observed. "Sometimes the most important opportunities arise from broken procedures." He looked at her for a moment. "Your formal interview is scheduled for Monday. But today, I want to discuss something else." Sarah felt a slight tension. "Of course." Alex leaned forward. "Why do you keep pursuing corporate positions when they consistently reject you because of your family situation?" The blunt question hung in the air between them. Sarah's eyes flashed with a hint of anger, then settled into determination. "Because I refuse to let my daughter believe that being a mother makes me less valuable professionally. Because I excel at my job regardless of my personal circumstances." She straightened in her chair. "And frankly, because I need comprehensive health insurance more than an inspiring work culture or ping-pong tables in the break room." Alex nodded slowly. "Practical priorities. I respect that." He paused, then asked, "If hired, how would you handle unavoidable emergencies like Lily's illness or school closures?" "The way I've always handled them, with contingency plans and support systems," Sarah replied without hesitation. "I maintain relationships with 3 reliable babysitters, 2 after-school programs, and a network of other working parents for emergencies." She leaned forward slightly. "Mr. Thorne, I understand your concerns. Every employer has them. But what they don't realize is that single parents are the most efficient workers you'll ever find. We don't have time for office politics or long lunches. We prioritize ruthlessly and maximize every single minute because we have to." Alex studied her, impressed by Sarah's candor. Then he made a decision that would change Meridian's culture forever. "Ms. Hayes, I'd like to offer you the position with one significant modification to the standard package." He slid a folder across the desk. "This is a pilot program. I'm implementing flexible work arrangements with emergency childcare support for employees with family responsibilities." Sarah stared at the folder. "You created this because of me?" "No," Alex said softly. "I created it because 17 years ago my wife Caroline tried to re-enter the workforce after our daughter was born. Every company she approached saw only complications, not her brilliance. He looked directly at Sarah. I was too busy building Meridian to realize how much it was destroying her. The revelation hung in the air between them. What happened? Sarah asked softly. Alex's face darkened with old pain. She was driving to another interview when a truck crossed the median. Your Lily reminds me of what my Lily could have been. Understanding dawned in Sarah's eyes. Is that why you helped us in the first place? Perhaps, he admitted. But your daughter's determination and your qualifications are valuable in their own right. He extended his hand. The position is yours if you want it. As Sarah shook his hand, neither could have predicted how this decision would change not only their lives, but the lives of countless working parents at Meridian Enterprises in the years to come. 2 months after Sarah Hayes joined Meridian Enterprises, the company's dynamics had subtly shifted. Sarah's project management expertise quickly proved invaluable, her methodical approach streamlining operations across various departments. The pilot program for flexible work arrangements hadn't stopped with Sarah's position. It had expanded with 5 other employees now participating in what Alex had officially dubbed the Priority Family Initiative. Quarterly projections show a 12% increase in productivity from participating team members, Sarah explained during her presentation to the executive board. She stood confidently at the head of the conference table, her slides displaying clear metrics. Employee retention has increased, and actual sick leave usage has decreased. Victoria Sloan, the HR director who had initially opposed Sarah's hiring, watched with thinly veiled skepticism. 2 months is hardly enough time to determine long-term viability, she remarked. What happens when the novelty wears off? That's why we're tracking weekly metrics instead of quarterly, Sarah calmly countered. We can identify and address issues in real time rather than discovering problems months down the line. Alex observed the exchange with satisfaction. Sarah had proven herself not only competent, but exceptional, deftly navigating office politics while delivering consistent results. The initiative will continue, he announced, ending any further debate. Sarah expanded the program to include 15 more positions next quarter. Later that afternoon, Alex found Lily in her familiar spot, a small desk in the corner of Sarah's office, where she did her homework after school. This arrangement had initially raised eyebrows, but Alex had made it clear that employees' children were welcome in designated areas when necessary. Mr. Thorne. Lily looked up from her science project. My mom is helping Mr. Davidson fix the supply chain problem, just like I said. Alex smiled. Is that so? I hear your mom's quite impressive. She always was, Lily replied matter-of-factly. People just didn't realize it before. That simple observation made Alex realize a profound truth: how many talented individuals had been overlooked by corporate America simply because their circumstances didn't fit a traditional mold. Lily, he said, taking a seat next to her desk. What would you think if I didn't work at Meridian anymore? Her face grew serious. Are you going to a different company? I might, he answered honestly. Or I might start something new. Lily considered this thoughtfully. Will we still see you? My mom says you're her mentor, but I think you're our friend too. That simple question crystallized the decision he'd been avoiding for weeks. His position at Meridian, the company he'd built, the professional identity he'd cultivated for decades, suddenly seemed less essential than the connection he'd forged with this remarkable child and her mother. Yes, he said definitively, we'll definitely still see each other. Alex was still pondering this shift when his phone rang, bringing news that would escalate the coming conflict beyond all prediction. Mr. Thorne, you need to see this immediately. Janet's voice was urgent as she placed a tablet on Alex's desk the next morning. The headline from the Wall Street Journal's business section screamed, Meridian CEO Personal Crusade, Business Innovation or Midlife Crisis. The accompanying article cited anonymous sources within Meridian describing Alex's unusual relationship with a female employee and her child, and questioned whether his judgment was being clouded by unresolved personal trauma. The article specifically singled out the Priority Family Initiative, painting it as a costly distraction from Meridian's core business, driven by Alex's personal agenda rather than sound business strategy. "Who leaked this?" Alex asked, his voice eerily calm. "Can't say for sure, sir," Janet replied. "But the details about your wife and daughter, very few people would have access to that information." Alex's phone began to ring incessantly. Board members, major clients, and industry peers all demanding explanations. By midday, Meridian's stock had dropped 3 points, and the PR department was in full crisis mode. Victoria Sloan appeared at his office, her face a carefully constructed mask of concern. "The board has called an emergency meeting for 4 p.m., she said. "They're requesting your presence, and," she paused meaningfully, "they've specifically requested Sarah Hayes attend as well." "On what grounds?" Alex demanded. "They didn't share that with me," Victoria replied with practiced innocence. "I'm simply relaying the message." After she left, Alex immediately called Sarah to warn her. "I saw the article," she said, her voice strained. "Lily's teacher called me. Some of the parents are talking about it. It's affecting my daughter now, Alexander." Sarah's use of his first name, something she'd never done before, indicated the gravity of the situation. "Sarah, I'm so sorry. I never intended." "I know," she cut him off. "But intentions don't matter much when my 7-year-old is hearing whispers about her mom's relationship with her boss." The implication hit him like a physical blow. "The article isn't implying," "Not directly," Sarah agreed, "but it puts ideas in people's heads. You know how these things work." When they arrived at the emergency board meeting separately, the atmosphere was icy. Gerald Harrington sat at the head of the table, flanked by Victoria and several more conservative board members. James Whitfield sat alone on the opposite side, his presence a silent statement of support for Alex. "Let's get straight to the point," Harrington began once everyone was seated. "This morning's article has caused significant damage to Meridian's reputation and shareholder value. Our phones have been ringing all day with concerned clients and investors." Alex maintained his calm demeanor. "Media speculation isn't unprecedented. Our PR team is addressing the inaccuracies." "The concern isn't just media coverage," Victoria interjected smoothly. "It's the underlying issue of judgment and priorities." She turned to Sarah. "Ms. Hayes, no one doubts your professional qualifications. However, the unusual circumstances of your hiring and the subsequent development of company policy based on your personal situation have created a perception problem." Sarah straightened her back. "Is my personal circumstance that I'm a single mother? Or is it that my daughter showed incredible initiative in ensuring her mother didn't miss an opportunity? Which aspect exactly is problematic for Meridian's image?" A few board members shifted uncomfortably. "The issue," Harrington continued, "is the appearance of favoritism and the rapid implementation of policies that fundamentally alter our company culture without proper vetting." He slid a document across the table toward Alex. "We propose a temporary suspension of the Priority Family Initiative pending a full review and relocating Ms. Hayes to our Cleveland office to eliminate any appearance of impropriety." Alex didn't touch the document. "That relocation would be a constructive dismissal, and you know it." "Her daughter is settled in school here," Victoria added. "We'd of course offer relocation assistance." Sarah's voice cut through the tension. "May I ask who leaked personal information about Mr. Thorne's family tragedy to the press?" The room fell silent. "That's not relevant to these proceedings," Harrington replied stiffly. "I disagree," Sarah countered. "It speaks directly to the ethical standards of this board. Someone in this room weaponized deeply personal information in an internal power struggle. That seems incredibly relevant to how Meridian conducts business. James Whitfield leaned forward. I agree with Ms. Hayes. Before we discuss any policy changes or personnel reassignments, we should address the security breach that triggered this crisis. Victoria's perfectly calm facade cracked slightly. We have no proof that anyone on the board actually... We do, Alex interjected. He nodded towards Janet, who had been standing quietly by the door. She distributed copies of an email chain to each board member. This morning, we traced the source of the leak. The information was sent from Victoria's email account to a Wall Street Journal journalist 3 days ago. All eyes turned to Victoria, her face ashen. This is absurd, she stammered. My email was clearly hacked. Hacked by someone who knew your authentic details and had access to confidential personnel files. Alex asked mildly. That seems unlikely. For the first time since the meeting began, Alex allowed himself a small smile. I anticipated this move, though not so soon. The email contains metadata confirming its authenticity and origin. Victoria, you are terminated effective immediately. Security will escort you as you clear your office. Harrington's face turned an alarming shade of red. You cannot unilaterally dismiss an executive without board approval. Actually, I can, Alex corrected. An ethical breach of this magnitude falls directly under my purview as CEO. Unless, of course, you're also implicated, Gerald. The older man visibly deflated. Of course not. I would never... Good, Alex interrupted. Then as acting chairman, I suggest we conclude this emergency meeting and reconvene tomorrow after everyone has had a chance to properly review the evidence. As board members filed out, some looking deeply shocked, others secretly pleased by Victoria's downfall, Sarah remained seated. You knew this was coming, she remarked when they were alone. Alex nodded. I suspected Victoria would make a move eventually. She's opposed every progressive policy change for years, not just the ones involving you. He paused. I'm sorry for the impact on Lily that I didn't foresee. Sarah gathered her papers. She's tougher than you think, tougher than anyone thinks. She paused at the door. Anyway, I believe in what you're trying to build here. A company where success doesn't demand the sacrifice of family. It's long overdue. As Sarah left, Alex realized that the corporate victory felt hollow compared to the personal trust he might have damaged. The battle was won, but the war, both professional and personal, was far from over. 3 weeks after Victoria Sloan's termination, the public outcry had largely subsided. Meridian's stock had rebounded, and the media had moved on to hotter scandals. The Priority Family Initiative not only continued but expanded, encompassing 25 positions across various departments. Sarah Hayes' management of the program had become a model with comprehensive metrics tracking both productivity and employee satisfaction. Even the board's former skeptics began to acknowledge the initiative's sound business rationale, especially as rival firms started implementing similar programs to catch up with Meridian's pace of innovation. Things were running smoothly until the day Gerald Harrington, the veteran board member, walked into Alex's office unannounced, closing the door with a decisive click. "We need to talk, Alex," he said without preamble. "About your future with Meridian." Alex leaned back in his chair. "I wasn't aware my future was in question." Harrington placed a thick dossier on the desk between them. "The board has conducted a review of company leadership and succession planning. It's standard procedure for any corporation our size. And," Alex prompted, though he had a sinking feeling where this was going, "and there are concerns about your long-term vision for Meridian." The changes you've implemented recently, while well-intentioned, represent a significant deviation from the company's established identity. Harrington opened the dossier, revealing a formal proposal for Alex to transition into an advisory role for the next 6 months, with Harrington returning as interim CEO while a search for new leadership commenced. "I see," Alex said softly. "A carefully orchestrated coup." Harrington looked slightly uncomfortable. "No need for such dramatics, Alex. No one doubts your contributions to Meridian. The company has thrived under your leadership for the past 15 years. But perhaps it's time for what Gerald to revert to past policies, discarding innovations that are demonstrably improving both our bottom line and our employees' lives. To balance," Harrington corrected, "to ensure that in your personal journey of healing, you don't reshape an entire corporation based on your individual regrets." The word struck with precision, finding the very weakness Alex had carefully concealed. "My personal journey is irrelevant," he replied coldly. "The metrics support every change I've made." Harrington sighed. "Metrics aren't everything, Alex. Culture matters. Tradition matters. The expectations of our long-standing clients matter too." He paused. "And your relationship with the Hayes family has created complications that go beyond the numbers." "I don't have a relationship with the Hayes family," Alex countered, though even to his own ears, the denial sounded hollow. "Don't you?" Harrington asked softly. "You've been photographed at the child's school events. You've dined at their home multiple times. You created an entire company initiative that began by addressing their specific situation. I supported a valuable employee and recognized the broader applicability of that support," Alex corrected. "Any personal connection is secondary." Harrington looked at him for a long moment. "The board meeting is Friday at 2 p.m. You have until then to consider the transition proposal. If you fight this, Alex, it will get ugly. The press will dig deeper into your personal history, into your interest in the Hayes family. Do you really want Lily dragged into that circus again?" After Harrington left, Alex sat motionless, weighing his options. He could fight. He still had allies on the board, and the performance numbers were on his side. But Harrington was right about one thing. A public battle would inevitably pull Sarah and Lily back into the spotlight. As if summoned by his thoughts, there was a gentle knock, and Lily poked her head in. "Mr. Thorne, my mom says I can show you my science project results." She bounced in carrying a blue ribbon and photos of her erupting volcano experiment. For the next 15 minutes, Alex listened intently as Lily explained the chemical reactions involved in her project, her face alight with the joy of discovery. The corporate machinations that had consumed his morning seemed distant and less significant in the face of her simple, uncomplicated joy. "Lily," he said when she paused for breath, "what would you think if I didn't work at Meridian anymore?" Her face grew serious. "Are you going to a different company?" "I might," he answered honestly. "Or I might start something new." Lily considered this thoughtfully. "Will we still see you?" "My mom says you're her mentor, but I think you're our friend too." That simple question crystallized the decision he'd been avoiding for weeks. His position at Meridian, the company he'd built, the professional identity he'd cultivated for decades, suddenly seemed less essential than the connection he'd forged with this remarkable child and her mother. "Yes," he said definitively, "we'll definitely still see each other." Later that evening, Alex called Sarah. "I need to discuss something important. Can we meet tomorrow?" "Is this about Harrington's ultimatum?" she asked, surprising him with her perceptiveness. "How did you know?" "Executive floors have thin walls, and Janet always keeps me informed," Sarah replied. "She's quite protective of you." Alex smiled involuntarily. "Guess I'm the last one to know about this coup." "Not a coup yet," Sarah corrected. Just an attempt. She paused. Alexander, whatever you're planning, please don't make a decision based on protecting Lily and me. We've survived corporate politics before. It's not just about protecting you, he admitted. It's about deciding what matters more, the company I've built or the future I could build. The silence between them held both possibility and uncertainty. Come for dinner tomorrow, Sarah finally said. Lily's making her famous spaghetti. We can talk after she's asleep. As Alex hung up, he realized that for the first time since losing Caroline and Lily, he was making a decision not based on past regrets, but on hopes for the future. Whatever happened with Meridian, something fundamental had shifted in his life's direction, from looking back to looking forward. What he couldn't have known was that the next day would bring a revelation that changed everything. The manila envelope arrived via courier at 10:37 a.m., marked personal and confidential for Alexander Thorne. Janet placed it on his desk with a curious glance, but no questions. It was one of many reasons he valued her discretion. Inside, Alex found documents from Gerald Harrington's personal files, copies of board meeting minutes from 18 years prior, HR records, and internal memos. A small, simple note read, "You should know what you're truly up against. A friend." As Alex read through the documents, his hands began to tremble. The papers revealed a systematic policy implemented during Harrington's tenure as CEO, one specifically aimed at the hiring and retention of women of childbearing age, particularly those with children. One memo from Harrington to the then head of HR stated, "While we cannot overtly discriminate, we can implement performance metrics that naturally disadvantage those with family obligations. This ensures our workforce remains focused and unencumbered." Another document showed a list of female employees who had become pregnant while at Meridian, with notes tracking their eventual departures, all within 18 months of returning from maternity leave. The pattern was undeniable and deliberate. Most damning was a specific mention of Caroline Reynolds in a board presentation from 2 decades ago. CFO Alexander Reynolds' wife has requested part-time work after childbirth. Offer denied, as it would set a problematic precedent for executive spouses. Alex leaned back, memories flooding him like waves. Caroline's growing frustration as she tried to re-enter the workforce after Lily was born. Her depression as one company after another rejected her flexible work proposals. Their arguments when he suggested she just stay home with Lily like other executives' wives. The final document in the packet was a newspaper clipping about the accident that took Caroline and Lily's lives, with a handwritten note seemingly from Harrington. Tragic outcome. Ensures AR remains focused on work. Best distraction from grief. Alex's vision blurred with a mix of fury and sorrow. For so many years he had blamed himself for being too consumed with building Meridian to adequately support Caroline. It had never occurred to him that his mentor Harrington had actively sabotaged her professional return. When Sarah called to confirm dinner plans, Alex's voice sounded so off that it worried her. "What happened?" she asked immediately. "I need to show you something," he replied. "Can you meet me at the office first? It's important." An hour later, Sarah sat across from Alex, the incriminating documents spread between them on his desk. "This is," she began, then trailed off. "Systematic discrimination," Alex finished deliberately, "designed to push working mothers out while maintaining plausible deniability." Sarah studied the documents carefully, her professional composure giving way to palpable anger. "And Harrington is behind this, the very man trying to oust you for being too progressive?" "Not just behind it," he said. "He created it, implemented it, and apparently took pride in its effectiveness." Alex looked directly at her. "Even with my wife, Caroline." Understanding dawned in Sarah's eyes. Is that why this is so personal to you? The Priority Family Initiative isn't just about efficiency or even doing the right thing, Alex admitted softly. It's about atonement. Correcting a wrong I didn't even know existed until today. Sarah reached across the desk, her fingers gently touching his. The first time she had initiated physical contact between them. Alexander, this changes everything. The board needs to see these documents. Harrington has too many allies, Alex countered. They'll claim these are old policies no longer relevant. They'll minimize and rationalize. Then we don't just show the board, Sarah said, her voice growing more resolute. We show everyone. What do you mean? Transparency, she explained. Complete transparency about past failures and present corrections. We release a comprehensive report on Meridian's historical practices regarding working parents, acknowledging the shortcomings and detailing the measurable improvements under the Priority Family Initiative. Alex considered the implications. That would be unprecedented. Exactly, Sarah nodded. No corporation willingly exposes its past mistakes in this way. By doing so, we position Meridian not as perfect, but as courageously committed to progress. It's not just company policy, it becomes a movement. As they strategized late into the afternoon, Alex found himself not just admiring Sarah's professional acumen, but also her moral clarity. She approached the situation not as a victim of discrimination, but as a strategist determined to create systemic change. One more thing, Alex said, as they prepared to leave for dinner. These documents don't just change how we approach the board meeting. They change my understanding of the last 17 years of my life. Sarah studied his face. What will you do with that understanding? I don't know yet, he admitted. But for the first time since losing them, I feel like I might be walking a path Caroline would have wanted. That evening at Sarah's small house, Alex watched Lily proudly serve spaghetti dinner, complete with garlic bread she'd helped prepare. The domestic scene stirred an unexpected emotion within him. This was what he'd missed for so many years, what he'd isolated himself from after losing his family. After Lily was tucked into bed, Sarah poured 2 glasses of wine and joined Alex on the tiny balcony overlooking the neighborhood park. Tomorrow will be a challenge, she said softly. Harrington won't go down easily. I'm prepared for that, Alex replied. What I'm less prepared for is what comes after. Sarah turned to face him. What do you mean? Alex chose his words carefully. For 17 years, I've defined myself by what I lost and by what I built to distract myself from that loss. Meridian became my identity because I had nothing else. He paused. But these past few months, watching you with Lily, being included in your lives, I've started to remember that there are other ways to measure success. Alexander, Sarah began cautiously. Whatever happens with Meridian, you've created real change that will help countless families. That matters. It does, he agreed. But I'm starting to think what matters more is being present for the people in front of me, not just building systems that might help anonymous families in the future. The implication hung in the air between them, unspoken but increasingly clear. We should focus on tomorrow's battle first, Sarah finally said, though her eyes held questions about possibilities beyond the corporate conflict. Alex nodded, respecting her careful boundary. You're right. One transition at a time. As he prepared to leave, Lily appeared in the hallway in her pajamas, clearly getting water, but actually curious about the adult conversation. Mr. Thorne, she said with a bluntness only children truly master, are you okay? You look worried. Alex knelt to her level. I'm a little worried about a meeting tomorrow, but having you and your mom on my side makes me a lot braver. Lily thought carefully before declaring, "My mom says that when you're worried about something big, you should remember that most things look different in the morning." The simple wisdom made Alex smile. "Your mom's very smart." "I know," Lily agreed confidently. Then, with a child's intuition, she added, "My mom likes you too. She smiles more when you're here." As Sarah gently guided her daughter back to bed with an embarrassed glance at Alex, he realized that no matter what transpired at the board meeting tomorrow, the most significant transformation had already occurred. Not in corporate policy, but within his own heart. The man who would walk into Meridian Enterprises the next morning was fundamentally different from the solitary work-obsessed executive who had met a determined 7-year-old in the lobby just months prior. He only hoped that difference would be enough to win the coming fight. The Meridian Enterprises boardroom was silent as Alexander Thorne concluded his presentation. The damning evidence of Harrington's discriminatory policies lay before each board member. Decades of systemic exclusion, meticulously documented and irrefutable. For 17 years, Alex said, his voice calm, yet filled with emotion, "I believed I failed my wife Caroline by being too focused on building this company. Today, I know that the real failure was institutional, a deliberate policy designed by Mr. Harrington to push working mothers out of our workforce." Harrington's face grew increasingly pale as Alex steadily presented one document after another. "These are historical practices," he weakly protested. "Times were different. Were they?" Sarah interjected, standing beside Alex at the head of the table. "Or did you just ensure they stayed the same?" She distributed additional reports showing the astonishing success metrics of the Priority Family Initiative. The evidence shows that supporting working parents doesn't decrease productivity, it enhances it. James Whitfield cleared his throat. "I move that we formally adopt the Priority Family Initiative as permanent company policy and expand it to all Meridian offices nationwide." "I second that," said Martina Chen, a typically quiet board member who had been watching the meeting with growing resolve. "And I would further propose that Gerald Harrington be removed from the board, effective immediately." Harrington shot to his feet. "This is preposterous. I built this company on exclusion and prejudice," Alex finished for him. "Times have changed, Gerald. Meridian has changed." The vote was swift and decisive, 11-3 against the removal of Harrington and the permanent implementation of the initiative. As security escorted the former CEO from the building, Alex felt a weight lift. Not just the immediate threat to his position, but a deeper burden he'd carried since losing Caroline and Lily. Later that afternoon, as news of Meridian's groundbreaking policies spread across the financial press, Alex found himself alone in his office staring at the picture of Caroline and Lily. For the first time in 17 years, he spoke to them without a cloud of guilt obscuring his words. "I think you'd approve," he whispered. "It took too long, but maybe something good came from losing you after all." A soft knock interrupted his thoughts. Sarah stood in the doorway, Lily beside her. "We brought cupcakes to celebrate," Lily announced excitedly, holding up a box from the bakery downstairs. "My mom says you won the big fight," Alex smiled. "We did. Together." As Lily ceremoniously arranged the cupcakes on Alex's conference table, Sarah joined him at the window. "What now?" she asked softly. "Professionally, we implement the initiative nationwide, then industry-wide. I've already had calls from 3 rival firms asking for advice." He turned to face her. "Personally, that's a more complicated question." Sarah's eyes met his directly. "Is it really?" Alex took a deep breath. "For 17 years, I've lived in the past building Meridian as a monument to what I lost, rather than a foundation for something new." He glanced at Lily, who was now meticulously distributing napkins. "You and Lily have reminded me that life goes on, that there can be second chances if we're brave enough to take them. Are you brave enough? Sarah asked softly. In answer, Alex reached into his pocket and pulled out a small, carefully wrapped package. This was Caroline's. She would have wanted someone like you to have it. Someone who fights for the same things she believed in. Sarah opened the package to find a delicate silver bracelet with a single charm, a compass. She always said a woman needs her own direction, not one dictated by others, Alex explained. It seems fitting now. As Sarah touched the bracelet with gentle fingers, Lily ran over. Are you guys having a serious talk? Your faces look serious. Alex knelt to her level. Actually, I was wondering if you and your mom would like to help me with a new project. Lily's eyes lit up with excitement. Like the kids' space we designed, even bigger. Alex smiled. I'm thinking of starting a foundation, one that helps companies create better workplaces for families. We'll need a chief vetting officer to make sure our ideas really work with kids. I can do that, Lily cheered. I think so, Alex agreed, looking up at Sarah. And we'll need a brilliant executive who understands both corporate structure and family needs. Sarah's eyes widened. Are you serious about this? Absolutely, Alex confirmed. The Thorne Family Foundation focused on transforming workplace culture nationwide. The Thorne Family Foundation, Lily repeated thoughtfully. Does that mean we'll be part of your family? The innocent question hung in the air, laden with meaning far beyond a 7-year-old's comprehension. Sarah blushed. Lily, honey? Not yet. Alex gently interrupted, surprised by the words himself. But families come together in many different ways over time. A year later, the Thorne Family Foundation celebrated its official launch in the very lobby where Lily had first approached the reception desk with her mother's resume. Now hundreds of business leaders gathered to learn about implementing family-friendly policies in their own companies. Alexander Thorne stood at the podium, Sarah beside him, as executive director, and Lily proudly handed out program brochures to attendees. An unexpected visitor changed everything, Alex told the crowd. A 7-year-old girl taught a room full of executives the meaning of true courage. He smiled at Lily, who was now standing between him and Sarah. She reminded us that family isn't a burden in the workplace. It's our greatest asset and our ultimate purpose. As applause filled the atrium, Alex reached for Sarah's hand. The silver compass bracelet gleamed in the light as their fingers intertwined. The gold band on her left finger, a recent addition, matched his own. Ready for this new adventure? He asked softly. Sarah smiled, leaning her head on his shoulder as Lily wrapped her arms around both of them. We've been ready since the day she walked into your lobby. Sometimes the most important encounters in our lives arrive as interruptions. Sometimes our greatest opportunities come in unexpected packages. And sometimes, just sometimes, the simple courage of a child can heal wounds we thought would last forever.